Hi, everybody. Welcome to What's Possible. What the heck am I talking about? What's possible? Well, have you ever thought about wanting something and then thinking it isn't possible? And then therefore you're correct and it's not possible. The thing is that whatever we think, we're correct, we're right. So in our desire to be right and not be wrong, we prove ourselves right by buying into the limitations that we think about instead of breaking that cycle and inserting a very powerful tool for creating new possibilities. Would you like to know what that is? Yes. Well, there's lots of them. And here, let me back up just a little bit. So my name is Julie Tooten, and I'm a certified facilitator of Access Consciousness. When I first found Access Consciousness 17 years ago, I was working in my business. I'm a jeweler and an artist. And I got to the point where I was having neck pain, and I thought, oh, this must be from making jewelry, right? My point of view was creating my reality. And so I went to my chiropractor and sat on his table, and he said, what's a pain in the neck? And I'm like, oh, all this energy came up. My husband, the kids, the business, da 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 da. And then he said these magical words called the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement, which sounds sort of like abracadabra. And instantly, all the pain in my neck disappeared. And I thought, what the heck was that? And how did you do that? And I want to learn that. So that was my first experience with possibility. Something that changed what was into something that I couldn't imagine, and I didn't know how. So how many times do you stop yourself from having something else that you desire because you don't know the how? Yeah, a lot. So I've learned through the years with all the different tools that Access Consciousness shares that you don't need to know the how ever. You just have to have the curiosity, the wonder, the choice for something different, and allow the how to be filled in by the universe, because it never shows up how you think it's going to show up anyway, but things do change. And what I've noticed is now, instead of asking how, or if I find myself starting to move into the how, oh, I'd really like this to happen. How am I going to do that? How am I going to get that? How am I going to create that? I stop myself and I ask, what choice can I make that will allow the universe to deliver this to me, or that would allow this to actualize in my life, in the world? So one of the first tools that we teach in Access Consciousness is the clearing statement that clears your points of view that keep you from creating something different, and the tool of asking a question, because a question unlocks that solidity of the how and the trying to figure out the how. The question actually defies science. The question is one of the simplest things, really, truly. And if you think about it, like all kids are constantly asking questions, constant questions. And when you were a kid, how many times did your parents and teachers try to make you conform into finding the answer, getting the answer, and having the answer that doesn't allow you to be the question now? So everything that brings up, because you can feel this like energy starting to come up, makes you feel like, oh, heavy and tight and contracted. So now we're going to use the clearing statement to clear all of that energy, whatever it is. So here it goes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, and beyond. And take a deep breath and let the energy move and swirl throughout your world. So you can find out exactly what the clearing statement is and means by going to theclearingstatement.com. I'm not going to explain it here because I know that it doesn't matter if you know what it means or not, because it worked for me without having any idea of what it meant. It's abracadabra. So what questions could you be inserting into the places in your life where things are stuck that would allow them to shift and change and allow new possibilities to open up? And everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, to know, and to receive and be that difference, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So why am I saying destroy and uncreate? We are the creators of everything in our lives. I know you've heard it before from lots of other people and lots of other modalities. We are the creators of everything in our lives. It's not a theory. It actually is. So, what is it that you'd like to create that you've never allowed yourself to choose because you didn't know how? And all of that, will you destroy and uncreate it and allow new possibilities to just start showing up? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I'll tell you a story. And this is even before I ever found the Access Consciousness tools. I was doing my business, creating art and inspirational products. And I always had a very strong intuitive sense and followed it. So it's just something that I was interested in and I nurtured and really listened to, these like whispers from the future. And so I was creating my business, and I remember thinking one day, I would like my product that I've created to be on Oprah. And I just remember this gentle request. It was really like, oh, I'd love to have my product be on Oprah. Not me, but my product. And I just thought that, asked that, and left it, let it be out in the universe. And probably 6 months later, I thought, oh, maybe I should send a sample to Oprah, which I did. And probably a month after that, the envelope got returned, ripped, empty. Like, I don't even know if it ever got to Oprah, but I got no response. And I thought, oh, well, I still feel like my product is going to be on Oprah because I asked for it. And I'm creating my reality. I'm creating my life, and that's what I would like. And I don't know how many years later, I was on vacation and I get this email saying that my product is being featured on Oprah and to watch out and to create a website, because back then we didn't have a website. This is a long time ago. And it was on Oprah, and she repeated that segment. It was a 5-minute segment on my product. She repeated it 3 times, and my product got seen by the entire world, and my business went through the roof. And it was magical. It was nothing that I could have done, and no way I could have figured out the how ever. It turned out that one of the producers of Oprah liked my product and would get it for her kids, and basically told a little 5-minute story about how she used them as a parenting tool and how she used them, my product. It was magic stones, these inspirational etched glass stones that people would hold in their hand or put in their pocket to be inspired. And that was one of my childhood ideas. It was to inspire the world to create peace and magic and possibilities, and creating the magic stones and having it be this worldwide thing, and having people from every country ordering my stones. It was quite incredible. So what is possible that you haven't been willing to ask for because you didn't know the how, that you can now start asking for, and asking, what choice can I make? What choice can I make for this to show up? Are you willing to have it be that easy? Ask and receive. Sometimes it comes really quickly, and sometimes you have to wait. You have to be patient. You have to keep choosing in that direction. But if you don't doubt and you continue being willing to receive, willing to have the magic, willing to choose what you'd like, it will come to fruition. Because you are the creator, you are the source of your life. So then it comes to, what are you willing to choose? Are you willing to choose it? How many reasons and justifications do you have for not allowing it to be that easy? I know I had lots. I probably still have lots. But we clear them when we're aware of them, and we keep moving forward. Do any of you have questions? Anything in particular that sticks you? Something that you would like to look at? You can unmute yourself and ask a question.
I can ask something.
Mm-hmm.
this thing that you said in the beginning, that we think something that is not possible and that never happens, and because you know you are creating that.
Yeah.
And there's so much things that I am aware now, and even when those thoughts shows up, I realize that I'm doing that. But there is so much more that I still haven't acknowledged. And even when I do, what can I do to change that?
Is there something specific that we can look at? Because when we speak in generalities, it's a concept. But when there's something specific, we can get to the energy underneath and change it. And then all of a sudden, you can perceive a shift.
Yes. Well, this happened this morning, but I can remember was what. But was this morning, I was in the kitchen and I thought something, and I thought, no, I will never have having this kind of money. I can never, like now I want to do the ASB
Mm-hmm.
at least one day. And then I think, there's no way I get money for that. From where we came this money, you know? And then I realized, wow, I can say that. How can
Okay. So, right there, it's like, oh, I'd like to have this, but I'm stopping myself with a point of view. And we all do this. So, when you're aware of it, you're like 90% of the way there to possibly change it. It's when you're not aware of it, when you're not willing to look at what it is that you're saying to yourself or thinking that's creating the blocks, then it's a lot harder. So, whose point of view is it? Yours? Someone else's? Everyone else's? Or something else?
I guess it's everyone else's.
Okay, and so since this is sort of a introduction to the tools of access consciousness, when I ask this, it engages your knowing. And you know if it's actually your point of view or if it's someone else's, even though it doesn't make sense. And you know also if it's everyone else's. Because we're like these really big satellite dishes picking up signals of everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions from 8 miles to 8,000 miles, or even beyond, depending on how sensitive you are. So, when there's something that you'd like to choose, and then you think, well, I don't have the money for that, I don't know how I'm going to afford it, then that same energy, anybody else who has that point of view, you can engage with that energy and then make it like really solid and real. So the first step is to destroy and uncreate everybody else's points of view about it that you're buying into and making yours. So destroy and uncreate that, return it to sender. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And you may or may not, depending on how sensitive you are, start to feel this movement, shift, lightness, something. And so that might be one layer, and then maybe there's some more layers underneath and underneath. But the thing to notice is this changing? And if it is, continue on that path, asking more questions to get to the root of the problem, the issue, the creation, so that you can create something completely different. Creation doesn't take effort. What takes effort is overcoming our own points of view. Which is kind of crazy. We don't have to overcome our points of view. We can just choose a different one. And I think it's also, it's so interesting because if you have this point of view, well, I don't know how I'm going to afford it, and then you hook into hundreds of other people or thousands of other people who have that, and you make it real and you make it right, it hooks into this this feeling of it's bigger than you. So another tool you can use is to expand your being bigger, 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 so that you're bigger than the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions that you're picking up from other people that are similar to yours. And also, what you'll notice when you do that, when you expand out, even your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions start to disappear. It bypasses all of that logical, linear, rational justification and steps you into your infinite capacities to perceive, to know, to be, and to receive, which allows possibilities to just magically show up. Vivi is asking a question or raising her hand.
We'll say in Portuguese first, okay?
Okay.
Luciene está perguntando como usar o Access para melhorar a saúde. Tenho dores musculares desde pequena. Luciene is asking, how can I use Access to improve my health? I have muscle pain since I'm a little girl.
Well, is it your pain? Or is it someone else's? Or something else? Did she answer?
Not until now.
Well, okay, so that would be the first question to ask.
She did. Sorry, I cut you.
Okay.
She said, I felt like if it's from a lot of people.
Okay. So that's amazing. So even as a little girl, you're still an infinite being. And you pick up the thoughts, the feelings, which are those aches and pains in your body, and the emotions of people all around you. You can ask yourself, am I trying to heal them? Or is my body just telling me, giving me an awareness of what's going on for people around me? By asking the question, you start to loosen the solidity of that intensity being your body's, and allows it to be this awareness that you have. It's separate from your body. And from there, then it can dissipate and change. And many people have healing bodies. And if we didn't make that a significant thing, like a lot of spiritual practices, they make everything very significant. And making something significant sticks you with it, it sticks it in your body. But if you just have it be this awareness, oh wow, my body's a healing body. okay, then ask your body, what can we do with this? Can you change it? Is the person that you're trying to heal actually willing to receive? And if not, body, can we dissipate and release all of this? So working with your body, with its capacities, instead of being at the effect of them. Can you ask her if that helps?
Ela disse: curar, estou sentindo muitas coisas voando do meu corpo. Incrível. She said, healing. I am feeling a lot of things flying from my body. Amazing.
Yeah. Our bodies are amazing, amazing instruments that give us all kinds of awareness. I was playing tennis one day with a friend, and somebody else walked onto the court next to ours, and my knee started hurting. And by then I had awareness of the access tools. And when my knee hurt, instead of going, ow, my knee hurts, maybe I sprained it, or, you know, what did I do to my knee? I looked around and I was like, oh, there's somebody over there on that. Is it theirs? Or is it someone else? Or something else? And as soon as I asked the question, the knee pain went away. The thing is that if you've had something for a long time and your body's been aching for a long time, we think it's ours, but you can still go back and ask the question, and these things can shift and change miraculously. I mean, it's crazy the kind of miracles and magic that shows up when people use these tools. And it really is up to the person choosing it, what they're willing to have change, what possibilities they're willing to step into. Recently, I worked with a woman who had stage 4 breast cancer. And I did an energetic symphony of possibilities session with her and explained a few tools. She had never heard of any of this stuff. And she had a doctor appointment after that, a couple weeks after that. And they reduced the cancer to stage 1 from stage 4. And the anxiety and fear in her world melted away. And she continues to learn some other tools and start, like, she's actually willing to start looking at, how do I expand my awareness more, and how do I change my living so that it's more fun, easy, and joyful? Which is, I think, pretty incredible for somebody who's still has cancer and has a very small child. And, you know, a lot of people live in fear with that, but she's choosing something different, and her body is changing quickly. But she's willing to have that. She's willing to choose that. It's really cool to know that you can offer a possibility and somebody will choose it. And there are other people who absolutely will not. So if you're one of those people that has a healer body, there's a lot of people who would rather suffer. I know it sounds crazy, but they would rather suffer and create trauma and drama and upset in their world than actually have an ease-filled, peace-filled, joyful life. But that's their choice. So if you do have a healing body, ask it to please only work on the people that are willing to receive it. And when you're feeling intensity in your body, ask to dissipate and release it into the earth. Because the earth can transmute it. Fawn had a question. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Have you ever, and I've encountered someone that I'm working with, and I love this woman, and she says that she wants to heal. I truly down. And there seems to be a conflict that I don't know the way to help her heal, to get to the place she wants to be. And I've asked what else is possible, how can I help? And it's a very frustrating place for me to be in, to stand by and not know which tools I can use to actually help her, because I know she has the will to not be in this degrading position.
Right.
End of question,
Well,
I think.
Well, the thing is, you have to go with your knowing and not what you believe. So you said you believe that she would like to heal, and if it's not changing, that would be the first place I would go. Is when you're working with her, are you asking truth, even in your head, before you ask her? Because then you'll know if she's actually willing to have it change, or if not. That's one thing. Another thing could be that it might not be hers. So you can ask, is it yours? Is it someone else's? Is it something else? And get to look from a different place. Because if we keep on trying to solve the problem when it's not yours to begin with, it's awareness that your body's giving you about something else, it's not going to change because it's not hers. So those are two different ways that you can start to get in underneath whatever's going on. What I've noticed is whatever's presenting on the surface, it's not linear what it is. The neck pain that I had wasn't because of the jewelry I was making. It was from the thought of, oh my God, this is such a pain in the neck. And I didn't realize I was having those thoughts. So expanding out and being a question, like truth, what's really going on in this person's world, and looking into her world underneath the symptoms might give you a direction of how to unlock it.
Thank you. Is it possible, now how would I ask this question? Is it possible there's something in me that's blocking my ability to really get her to what she wants? Does that make sense?
Yes, but does that feel light when you're saying that?
It doesn't feel like anything. I think I was too engaged in forming the question.
Everybody else, what do you perceive? Does it feel light when she's saying that? No. So that doesn't feel light. And when something doesn't feel light, that means it's not true for you. So,
right. Okay. Thank you.
I would definitely, clear all of your projections, expectations, separations, judgments, rejections, all of that. And you might clear her of everybody who's projecting and expecting of her. and come at it from a different angle. Come at it from the crazy point of view. Like, what's right about this that she's not getting?
Oh, that feels so hard to ask.
I know. But sometimes we have to ask those hard questions to, you know, get underneath. I mean, I worked with my stepfather when he was really ill, right before he died, actually, a few months before. And I had to ask him, like, truth, what are you dying to get out of? And truth, do you really want to live? And he'd say yes, but it was a no. And, you know, you don't have to push that in their face, but you can ask the question so that they can look at it.
That made me cry, and it made energy just run like heat through my body. And I think I'm afraid to fail for her. Ooh, thank you.
Well, everything that is, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And how much is your body trying to change this for her? I mean, from what I can sense, it's either not hers or she doesn't want to change it. I'm not sure which, but it's something like that. So it's not about you and your ability, it's her choice.
Can somebody be so unaware of a choice, or can there be a
Yes.
subconscious choice that in no conscious way would they choose?
Yep, absolutely.
How do we get to that?
By asking those tough questions.
Okay.
I mean, really, that is a way to get to it. Somebody who's creating cancer, or somebody who's creating, you know, some intense terminal thing or whatever, you, by asking them, what are you dying to get out of, or what's right about this you're not getting, it is hard. But if they're willing to look at it, they have the possibility of changing it.
Would you start the question? I'm sorry. What did you say?
If they're not willing to look at it, then they can't change it.
Yeah. How do you help them if it is initially too hard? Do you just give them the space to let it bubble up?
Yeah, just have them ask themselves and indulge the question for a while and see what happens. Questions are amazing at opening up things. They don't have to give you an answer.
And if somebody responds with fierceness and anger and comes at you really with disgust, like, how could you ask that question? Of course, blah, blah, blah. How do you handle it?
This is your job. They're asking you to show them a way of healing. And the thing is, if they're in that much resistance, then they're not actually willing to change it. Unfortunately.
How do you help them if they say they want to?
You don't want to hear this, do you? You gotta ask truth.
Truth.
Because, you know, people say, I want this to work out. No, that's just what they're saying. You have to listen to the energy. So many people are creating problems in their bodies because they're not willing to actually look at what they're avoiding. You know, I didn't realize that my neck pain was, my husband was a pain in the neck, because I didn't want to open that can of worms, because then everything would fall apart. So I kept that lid on for a long time. And that's what people do. They only want this one little area to change, rather than really stepping into all possibilities and allowing things to be fluid and move and change and become way greater than they can ever imagine. They want to control and have only the one little possibility that they can receive. So everywhere we've bought into that, and everywhere we're mimicking other people, choosing just that, will you consider destroying and uncreating some of that and have something greater possible? Right?
Absolutely.
Good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. There was another person with a question. Who is that? Anna?
Yes,
Hi.
I have a question about my sleep. How I can heal my sleep with this kind of approach? Like I'm waking up several times at night, and I do want to sleep like for 6 or 7 hours without waking up.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite ways to get back to sleep is to say the mantra of Access Consciousness, which is all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And you just keep saying it over and over and you'll fall asleep. The other thing that I've heard Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, talk about is if you keep waking up in the middle of the night, what is it that that you could add to your life, that you could do? Like, do you have a book that wants to be written? And if you just wake up and can't get back to sleep, just start writing in that book. Just start writing it. You know, what if you don't need to sleep as long as you think you do? So everywhere not sleeping straight through is a problem instead of a possibility, will you destroy it and create it?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Sometimes people wake up because they're aware of shifts in the earth. You know? And there was a quote, I put it on my Facebook page, that Gary said during the facilitator class this week. He said, if you're thinking about a problem, you're not aware of it, you're creating it. So all of the energy that we put into thinking about our problems or thinking about possibilities of problems are us putting energy into creating it instead of putting energy into all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And letting go of the problems and allowing other possibilities to come in.
Oh, wow, that's a lot. I am not getting it actually when you were saying that. So
That's okay. Part of the thing with this work, it's so brilliant, because it's not about thinking and figuring out, being the energy of a question, being the energy of change and possibilities, fuzzes out your mind. So it's really hard to understand the words, even if it is in your language. But at the same time, you're getting the energy of it, your body is getting the energy of it. And so if you listen to this recording again and again, you'll start to, first of all, be able to hear it, and second of all, be able to be it. And when you be it, that's when everything changes before your eyes. It's like you walk through the world being a different energy, being an energy of question. being an energy that creates possibilities. Nothing is solid. Nothing is a problem. Everything is a possibility. And everything that doesn't allow that, let's destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Hi, Rebecca. You have a question?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rebecca, you are mute.
Kept on talking and didn't know that I was not muted. So thank you. There are such gems from this. And I just want to contribute by saying, you know, as you know, Julie, I was diagnosed with cancer of the left breast. And when I had the diagnosis, I actually went to all the, I looked into all the different modalities and of course, access. And just dove in, you know, just went down to what they call the bottom of the rabbit hole to find out, you know, what was causing it, because I did believe, and I still do, what Gary Douglas said, which is when you have diseases like this, somewhere deep down there's a desire to leave the planet. And people were telling me that, you know, it's like, I get a sense that you haven't decided to stay or leave the planet. I'm like, what are you talking about? I choose to live, you know. It's like, well, maybe you're not saying it, or, you know, with conviction. And so I did go through the crazy questions of what do you love about dying? What do you hate about dying? And I just want to add that you really have to just be really open with whoever you're working with and let the crazy answers come through. And there was one fun, crazy answer, which was like, oh, I don't have to deal with my mess. So a lot of chachkas. And what do you hate about this? Oh, my brother's gonna have to deal with my mess. So, but the real true answer was, there was this sense of deep grief and a sense of there's no redemption, which is totally ridiculous. And it happened to be something from a past life. And so I finally got that. I thought, well, if there's no redemption in this life, maybe if I leave the planet and when I come back, there will be some chance for an alteration and change. And that opened up a lot. And then with going to Rome and talking to Dane and him saying, you know, is this really yours? And I saying, yes, of course it is. And he said, oh, I get it. It's a virtual reality of a virtual reality of a virtual reality. and said something else, and my heart just opened, and I thought, this is the true end of it, you know. Yeah. So
that's amazing. I know, it's just amazing. It's you know, our thinking is really what's creating the stinking, what they say. Thinking is stinking. And the less we can engage our mind and the more we can use our awareness and use our questions and choose something different, you can just choose something different and it changes everything. You don't have to figure out how to undo everything if you choose something different.
And I just want to add that the person has to be really willing to be free of it, you know, and willing to see what's really underneath and get to that crazy answer, or not answer, but crazy awareness.
It's true, because what unlocks all of this is the insane answer. It's so true. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Very cool. Any other questions? So, what is possible for each of you that you don't think is possible? That if you would allow the possibilities, would actualize a totally different reality for you? And everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. This is a question that you can ask about anything to create something different. What is possible that I think is not possible? Because we're just thinking it's not possible. It's not a reality, but we're creating it as a reality. So, what is possible that you think is not possible about healing or money or relationship or whatever? Put it in the blank. That if you would allow the possibilities, would actualize a totally different reality. And then you just pot and pock. It's really easy, really simple. I think the hardest thing is to be really, really, really present with what you're thinking, because we're so distracted by all kinds of things that those thoughts that are creating everything that's showing up in our lives are buried. We're not even aware of them. So using some of these tools to dig down underneath, like Rebecca was saying, underneath of course I want to live, that's a superficial thing that's hiding all this stuff that we don't want to look at. But it's when you go to the back of the closet and you dig out that stuff, then you can get rid of it. You can throw it out, and then your closet is empty. And then you can live happily and create whatever you like. So, what would it take to be willing to be more present with your thoughts and what you're creating so that you can create exactly what you would like? Everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So in the last minute or so, let's just do an expanding exercise so that you can get a sense for what that is. Because we have these amazing bodies that can pick up all kinds of thoughts and feelings and emotions. But our body is one entity and we are another. We're the being, and the being is infinite. When we contract our being down into the shape of our body, or even smaller, this little tiny thing within our body, we're cutting off so much of our capacities. So as you start to relax and expand beyond your body, the energy that you are, the awareness that you are as a being, it creates this ease in your body the further and further you expand. So you can expand and fill the room that you're in, and you can expand beyond that. You can expand around the entire planet, through the planet, and beyond the solar system. And it's just this choice that we can be, we can choose to be. It's very simple. And you notice that as I ask that, and you be it, that all of a sudden your mind is totally crystal clear, quiet. That's the space of you as a being, and all that mind chatter goes away. All that mind chatter and the problems, all of that falls away. So if you were to continue expanding and choose to be expanded all day, all night, all the time, what would that create? Maybe a life of ease, joy, and glory. So play with the tools and send me an email. I'd love to hear how it works for you. And there's all kinds of classes and stuff. This is just an intro. So check out what's available. The access is now in 190 countries. It's almost every single country in the world. So there's something right about it. What is right about it that we're not getting? Okay, I am off to a bars trade, so I'm going to sign off, and thank you so much for participating, and thank you for the people watching this in the future. Can't wait to see what you create.
Thank you, Julie.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.